V'yesh lahakshos demikan mashma. We can ask that from here it implies Korbani onikrau lachmi hem lahamshich mazon lahaolamos, that the sacrifices that are called my bread, they're to draw down sustenance to the worlds. Like it finishes, eat my friends. And now the prayer is in the place of the sacrifices. So from mashma fresh ben birchas mazon ben bircha and itzlosa. But in Zohar, Vayigash, it implies that this is the difference between the blessing after the meals and the blessings of prayer. That the blessings of that we say after the meal, that's to draw down the sustenance to the world. But we just said that the birchas, that the Shmona Esrei L'Chorah is lachmi, so perhaps that contradicts. That by the birchas Mazon it says, you'll eat and be satiated, and you'll bless. That the blessing is connected with his satiation from above. Which is not the case with the blessings of prayer. That's forbidden to eat before you pray. So it's not connected with sustenance, like it says, do not eat upon the blood. And the reason is, as explained in Zohar Vayigash there, that this is the blessing of prayer, of yichuda, of supernal union, of yichud, that's higher than the blessing of sustenance. It has to do with things of Baruch Hu L'mayla almost l'chor. Uperish b'mikdash melech perish ki ikar tfilu lahamshich mochin daba ve'ima, and the Mikdash Melech explains, because the main concept of prayer is to draw down the brains, the mochin, to Abba and Ima, to Chochmah and Bina Lezun, from Abba and Ima to Zon Nukva. Like it's brought in Priyetz Chaim, and the intentions you're supposed to have when you daven, because it's known that Shema is Yichud Ava and Tefillah is Yichud Zun. So you draw down the Mochin Abba Ve'iman into the Partzufim of Yaakov and Leah, Rachel, and Urza and Yisrael, to Leah and Rachel and so forth. And the world to come, which is Bina, that you're drawing down from, there's no eating and drinking. And that's why it's forbidden to eat before you daven, because it's from Olam Haba, beyond the corporeal reality. And that's the blessing of sustenance, of food. So the blessing for sustenance, that's in Malchus, it's a lower level. Sustenance comes from Malchus. That's why you make a blessing after you eat and drink, like it explains the reason. Because when you're satiated, that's the concept of satiation of will, that you like it says by Naphtali's Svaratzon, but it's a concept of the Ratzon, I guess, that comes down to Malchus. Look, but it's brought in Zohar Miketz about that you should make an oath in his name. I guess that Tisaveh is Melashon Sova. That Shmo is Malchus, and Tishaveh, the oath, is a concept of Sova as well, even though in general Shvua might be connected with, or at least the Neder is in Bina. But the Shvua perhaps is a different idea. Like it's known the idea of Nidarim Porchin Ba'avir, And that is in the blessing after the meal. He satiates the world completely with his goodness and graciousness and kindness. So the flow comes from the attribute of kindness to Malchus. So that's bechesed. That the flow is coming, like we said, that the Birchas Mazon is Malchus, and he's satiating the world with Chesed. But the blessings of prayer come from the world to come. Like it says in Zohar Truma, that Rabbi Chizkiah opened and he said, and you'll eat and be satiated and you'll bless. Begin because prayer goes up and up, and to a place that doesn't have eating and drinking. So it makes the distinction there between the Birchas Hamazon and the prayer. And the Mikdash Melech explains there that in prayer we draw down the brains of the mother and the father of Chochmah Bina, Vosinziv Vug Abba Ve'ima, and we make a union of the mother and father B'Kriyas Shema, Vezivug Zun Be'amida, and the union of Zan Nukva in the standing prayer. And it's known that in the mother and the father there's no eating and drinking. Again, we're still going to go back to the question of why in Abba in Ima it says Ichlureim. But right now it implies that in Abba and Ima there's no Achilu Shasiya, it's Olam Haba, and that's why you can't eat before you daven. And this is like the difference between him and his life forces are one. Should begin already shown us that refers to the three first levels. And then on this level there's no eating and drinking. And the difference between this and he and his causations are one, which that refers to the seven lower levels, the seven lower spheros that are called garmohi. V'sham shaykh achila, that there you have eating. And that is because the seven lower levels are connected with the worlds. There are hashpah to the worlds, like because who can you do kindness to if not the world? Which is not the case with the three first levels. Because you can have wisdom and understanding in the divine without the creation of a world. That's why in his place, so to speak, it's not his way to eat. It's not shaykh to Inyane Olamos. Or Parshas Mishpatim Binyan V'Yechezuz Elokim V'Yochel V'Yishtu, and we can awaken to the idea that's brought in the Mamar in Torah or in Mishpatim concerning that they gazed at Elokim, and they ate and they drank. And that is to say, eating and drinking in the world of Bria, a satiation with the concept of from the divine within the world of Bria. But by Matan Torah and getting the luchos, it says by Moshe that he didn't eat and drink. He did not eat bread and did not drink water. But rather he was satiated from the eating and drinking concepts of the world of Atzilus. It says in Medrash Rabbah that he did not eat bread of Allah Mashal Torah Achal, but he ate the bread of Torah. That he did not drink water while he drank the waters of Torah. So there was a concept of eating and drinking within the world of Atzilus, but it wasn't the regular bread and water of creation, but a higher concept. Like we're saying here, it's the concept of Zun, the Atzilus, at first glance. or maybe it's hinting to this higher achila in shisia v'chlureim, but let's see what he says. Look what's brought about this in the Mamar of Rabbi Akiva. Praised are you, Israel, in front of who are you purified? Is Yifid Aleph. Bebuch tafresh tes vav al derech zayesh lefaresh kana fresh ben birchas mazon also the is beachil shasiya. And so too we can make the distinction here between the eating and drinking, the place where there's eating and drinking, and the blessings after the meal. And between the concept here by the sacrifices which correspond with prayer, that it says, I've eaten my honeycomb with my honey chulu and adkanaga. So that the taka that it implies that the fact that we say by Shmona Esrei that we ate and drank ichlureim, the friends should eat, and that I ate my honeycomb, all this concept of eating is really a more spiritual concept of eating, more like Moshe Rabbeinu eating on the mountain, not the regular eating and drinking, but eating and drinking Torah. And so even though Birchas Hamazon is a concept of eating, but that's a lower concept, whereas the concept of eating and drinking by Shmona Esrei is more like Moshe Rabbeinu on the mountain. Based on the Medrash Shabbat Kisisa. Im kein l'chora korbanos hem b'makom sheyesh gam kein achila. If so, the korbanos then are also in a place where there's eating. Im kein kriyash mavet tefillah gavoa mer korbanos. And if so, kriyash ma and tefillah are higher than korbanos. V'zet tzarich iyun, and this needs to be looked into. So if we've established that tefillah is higher than prayer, so if we don't take the Tzemach Tzedek's Haggah into account, so we have to say that tefillah lechud and korbanos lechud, that korbanos taka are in of achalti yarim divshi, but perhaps they correspond more with Birchas Hamazon, and Shmona Esrei is a higher concept. It's not eating and drinking. Kriyash ma and tefillah are above achila shasiya. They're olam haba. So the conclusion is that it needs looking into from the original Mamar. And we can say that in sacrifices you have both concepts, the Korbani, the Hainu Adam, that is my Korban. That's the first concept in the Korbanos. That's the blood of the Korban that goes up to a place where there's no eating and drinking. And my bread part, Korbani Lachmi, the bread part of the Korban, that's the concept where there is eating, but that's a difficult answer. It's stretching it. Hinam yesh lomar, or we can say lachmi hu leishai hainu zayin tachtono. So we can say that my bread, that is to my fire, that is the 7 lower levels. Imkin achilas hakorbanos ochil b'shvila malchus. If so, the eating of the korbanos that it eats is for malchus al derech tzadik ochil sova, like the concept that the tzadik eats to satiate. That there's the achila of the tzaddik, which is higher than regular achila. Not so different than what the Tzemach Tzedek brings about, the idea of achila of Moshe, which perhaps is like the achila of the tzaddik. But he says here that you have the concept of lachmi is the zayin tachtonos, which we said is more shaykh to achila than the Abba Ve'ima. Weimar shekaz b'dibur ha'maschil mimitares chem sif yud beis ubishim shalad daf reshud aleph inami shlomor. So again, he seems to make a distinction between Korbani and Lachmi, that Lachmi is Leishai there is a concept of flow to Malchus from the concept of Korbanos that is shaykh to Achila. And another answer, Yesh lomar bekorbanos, yesh beis bechinas lachmi, yesh lebeis bechinos lachmi v'reach nichochi. And Korbanos, there's two ideas. There's my bread and my pleasing smell. Again, another concept of dividing the Korbanos into two ideas. Three different approaches to dividing the Korbanos into two concepts. Mash'enkin b'yachas hamazon rak lechem, which is not the case with the blessing over the meal, is only concept of bread, v'gam lechem lemalchus, and also bread to malchus. V'tfila lachmi dezah, and tfila, the bread is the bread of Zeranpin. So it's a different lechem within the Birchas Hamazon and the tefillah. V'kivin bekorbanos v'tefillah yishreach nichochi alkein asur le'achol kodem tefillah. And even since in prayer you have also the concept of a pleasing smell to me, and the lechem itself is higher, and it's not flowing down to malchus yet. Therefore, it's forbidden to eat before tefillah. And it says that beguf ksav yad kodesh nechtach kan v'tev v'severin tos from ksav yad matik. Mash'enkin bekorban yishlomar. And here's what's added. It says that, which is not the case with the korban. We could say kohen she'achal ino pasul lahakri v'tamid, that the korban who ate, he can still bring the korban tamid. Why is that? Because there isn't a concept of achila by the korban. It's just a higher kind of achila. But as it is in prayer, it's not the concept of achila of malchus. Therefore, you don't have achila by a regular person who's doing it, but by the kohen, who I guess corresponds more with achila of zah, he would eat. He could eat. I wonder if the minhag of Chabad to eat before davening is shaykh to this idea as well, of the kohen that eats and the achil of zah, because you're eating for the avodah meser esensu lib davening. And we'll consider the gate of the Birchas Hamazon, where it talks about to understand the source of these things, and these are the attributes of the Mizbeach. Biur HaMamar, the Parshas Truma, Daf Kufnan Gimel Hanal, Vinyan Pasach B'Mizbeach V'Sim B'Shulchan, and the concept of that he opens with the Mizbeach and he ends with the table, that the table is a concept of Mazun to Olamos. If you start with the Mizbeach, which is a concept of Achilas HaMizbeach, and then you end with the Shulchan, which is a concept of Achila that goes down to the Olamos. So you also have that distinction with two kinds of eating. V'tochena Enyan, and the general concept that's explained there, that the purification through the table of man, from the foods, even after it's purified, it's like the concept of gvuros, of strengths and arousal from below, where a person is in a state of existence and feeling that existence from bechinas bina, and that comes from the concept of bina kamusham meichel gashmi nasedam, as the physical food becomes blood. I'm not sure why he says it comes from bina. We just said that bina is l'mayla mina achila. V'kach l'mayla zeh shulchan u'malchus. And so to the table, which is malchus, mevareres and itzutzos, The Mizbeach is also a concept of Malchus in other places, but not in this context in comparison with the Shulchan, perhaps. Or perhaps the first birur is Bina, and then the second birur is Malchus. Malchus shmevareras hanetzutzos valatfila he bechinas bittul de called mamadaka me bechinas chachma. But prayer is a concept of nullification of the soft, still voice that comes from chachma. Also, he does say. So if you want to say mizbeach lechud and tefillah lechud, so tefillah is so then tefillah is a concept of chachma, whereas the mizbeach is a concept of bina. Or you can say that the bina and the malchus are all together by the shulchan. It's not so clear. But at any rate, tefillah in this context is called mamadaka. It's the concept of chachma, silence, shtika, siyag lechachma shtika lechin asur lechol kodem tefillah. Therefore, it's forbidden to eat before you pray, because it's higher than bina and malchus. Because even from the purification of the meichel, even the second birur, you won't draw down this kind of nullification of chachma. Not from the mizbeach and not from the shulchan. Ein Chagavne Belkutei Torah B'dibur Maskil Baloschas Haneros Drush Hasheni Perek Beis Binyan Mayin Li Basar. And look what's brought in Baloscha about from where will I find meat? A concept of basar from ayin. It's a meichel of chachma. The fat slav were a meichel from chachma. So there is a concept of eating in chachma, but it's a higher concept. Uperek Daled Binyan Shel Chag Gadol, and a concept of and in the concept of Aaron's avoda is greater, the menorah. So the shemen in the menorah, which is not for achila, so that shemen is higher than the mizbeach and the shulchan that we're talking about. If the mizbeach is bina in this context that he just mentioned, and the shulchan is malchus, so the menorah is chachma in comparison. ועוד פרש בסידור שם the birur de achilas mizbeach zeu gavor me birur shulchan. I guess the eating on Chanukah, the eating achilas shemen might be on this level. ועוד פרש בסידור שם the birur de achilas mizbeach zeu gavor me birur shulchan, and he further explains there in the siddur that the purification of eating of the mizbeach, that's zeu gavor me birur shulchan, that's higher than the purification of the shulchan v'kamo habira shaydi chachma, and that's like the purification of chachma bechinas called mamadaka chulu, like this concept of the soft still voice. So if you want to say with the basic comparison that the mizbeach is like tefillah, and the first comparison that we brought, that the mizbeach is like tefillah and the shulchan is like the birchas hamazon. So you could say then, as well, that the mizbeach is this level of tefillah of called mamadaka chachma, when you compare those two alone. The first havamina in this paragraph of this distinction between the tefillah and the birchas hamazon. Ulai beis bechinas birur manal zeu kenyan birur demayin nukfinu birur demayin dechurin dema, and perhaps we can say that these two kinds of purification are like the two birurim, the birur of this feminine waters, and the birur and the purification of the feminine waters, and the purification of the masculine waters, whether we're talking about as an arousal from below or an arousal from above of ma, or perhaps banin ma. The birur rishon and birur sheni shenizbar b'tsof tibur maschil v'nei nachnu malmim alumim, with the concept of we are gathering sheaves binyan v'atishtachavin alalu masi, with the concept of that you bow down to my sheave. So which, if you have the concept of gathering up the sheaves, so that's one birur, and then all the birurim, all the sheaves, after they're gathered, they bow down to Yosef's, which is a concept of a second elevation, of a second birur of the sheaves of wheat, of sustenance. And according to this, we could answer the question that we mentioned before, that even though prayer is in a place where there's no eating and drinking, therefore it's higher than the concept of the blessing of the mazon, blessing on food. That is higher than eating and drinking. That's in the concept of the table of man, Malchus, which is Malchus, when it's called the table of Zeranpin, and Nikra Adam, which is called that Zaz, it corresponds with Adam. So that's the table where there's eating. And that's a place where you have eating and drinking. One prayer is a concept that's higher than this purification that happens through the table. And look what's brought in Zohar Shuma concerning the Tikkun Shchinta, the bed and the table and the chair and the menorah b'mikdash melech sham, that you have Kriya Shalamita, and you have the kisa in the Psukei Zimra, the Shulchan, the Mesader, the prayer, and then you have the kisa, which is Shema, and the menorah, which is Shemona Esrei. So again, you have a concept of juxtaposing the menorah and the shulchan. And it says mizbeach, persons. Now that we don't have the base of mikdash, so shulchanu shel adam mechapra. So there is a correlation between the mizbeach and the shulchan shel adam. Or perhaps it's saying you don't have that level of the mizbeach, you still have the level of shulchan. But the eating of the mizbeach by the sacrifices is different. It's not like the shulchan of lechem apanim. It's not called at all a place where there's eating and drinking, because the mizbeach, in general, in comparison to the shulchan, is chachma, purification, a higher purification. Should be beginning bittul. It's a state of nullification, not of yeshus and eating. According to what we explained, it's this purification of the masculine waters, and it's called my bread. Therefore, it fits that the prayer is in the place of a sacrifice, because it's higher than echila of the shulchan. But nonetheless, it's still forbidden to eat before prayer, because it's not the same kind of eating. It's a higher kind of eating. Because the eating in the mizbeach is higher than the purification through the eating of the shulchan. That in the party says the shulchan, the table, is malchus as it receives from gevura. B'meori oros shin sif yud zayin shulchan nekra yisod denukva. So in meori or it says that the shulchan is yisod, the feminine yisod, the kedusha or the klipa, whether it's in holiness or in klipa. The shulchan can be used for either one, and it's a receptacle to the for the food. In that context, perhaps the eating is hashpa to malchus, from the sod, from the kli that holds the food, or something like that. or perhaps to the Adam it's to the Adam you could say it's an elevation to Tzav. But there's some kind of yichud going on with Yisod Nukva by the Shulchan, according to the Me'orior. If it's Yisod. Vayim b'tikun Zohar tikun kafdal daf samaches amud beis v'daf peizayin amud aleph Aleihem minyan Shulchan Arachti lo. Look what it says, that I set a table for him. There's a concept of lahafuch shulchano as a concept of union. That the intimacy in marriage is compared to a shulchan. And you have the concept of the bread that he eats, that Potiphar's wife was called the bread that he eats. So it's a concept of Yisod, of Nukva, is a concept of a yichud. By the eating, you have a yichud, like a concept of intimacy, where the bread is compared to the feminine concept, the feminine aspect. Parshas about Amaz, Parshas Truma, Kufnan Dalad, the Shulchan Shalav Lechem Apanim Zeu Hamshachem Zivuk Tzadiri Dabavima, that he says there that the Shulchan, where you have the Lechem Apanim, that's a concept of the constant union of Abba and Ima, L'Hachios, almost to enliven the worlds. So the fact that the bread is there, Lechem Lefanai Tami, and we just said Lechem is a concept of union according to the Me'orior, and the Ramaz goes with this l'cha'ora, and here we have an idea that the lechem apanim is not malchus, but it's a concept of yichud avah, much higher idea, where we have a constant union to enliven worlds. It's the yichud chitzoni of Abba v'Nima of enlivening worlds. Which is not the case with the Mizbeach, according to the Ramaz. That's the inner union of Abba and Ima. It's an extra light, not just the Zivuk Tadiri L'Chachios Solomos, not just to keep the worlds going, but an inner union. Okay, in Bechinas Shera, Bechinas Onasa, like the difference between the She'er, the clothing you have to give her, and the concept of intimacy, which is, I guess, the difference between something she always wears, clothing, and the Ona is from time to time. המבואר בזוהר המשפטים דף צדיק זין עמוד בייס, ומה שיש להקשוס עוד עין מה שכתוב בסדר דבחינס בירור השולחן זהו מבחינס בינה. And look what's brought in the siddur, that the concept of the purification of the table, that's bina. So again, another source that the shulchan is bina, not malchus. So if that's the case, why do we say that the world to come, there's no eating and drinking? We just said that the shulchan corresponds with bina, and bina is alma da'asi. So how does the shulchan even, if we're saying shulchan corresponds with bina, how do we say that there's a concept of eating? The world to come of bina doesn't have eating and drinking, like we asked before by the Mizbeach. And it's known in the world in Zohar that the world to come is bina. We can answer this as well, according to what the Ramaz says. So Parshas Korach b'shem Yitzchayim the Abba ve'imay line shneim nikra Abba. That's brought in Korach, in Zohar Korach, in the Ramaz Korach, in the name of the Yitzchayim, that the mother, supernal mother and father, Shneim Nikra Abba, both of them are called Abba. Shneim Yud Shel Shem, and both of them are the Yud of the name. I guess the Vav Dal within the Yud. So if Ima is the Vav Dal within the Yud, so I guess it's also a concept of Abba. Yisrael Shabbat V'Tfuna Shneim Nikra Ima, and the lower partsufim of Abba and Ima, the Chitzonius partsufim, that's Yisrael Saba and Tfuna, Sheneim Nikrau Ima. So both of them are called Ima. So you have Partsufim of Abba and Ima, and then you have the Partsufim of Yisrael Saba and Tfuna. And the Abba and Ima are the Pnimius of are the Panemius Partsufim. So they correspond with Abba in general. And Yisrael, Tzav, and Tfuna, both of them are called Ima, according to the Ramaz in Korach here. Vehem Hey Shel Shem, and that's the Hey of Hashem's name, Ima. Vimkain Ikra Inyan Alma Da'asi Zeu Ima Ilah. If so, the main concept of the world to come, that's Ima. So V'zeu B'yud Nivra Ha'olam Haba. That's that with a Yud, the world to come was created. Hainu Etzem HaYud, that's with the Yud itself. Hu Abba Ilah, that's the supernal father of Chochmah, of the Partsufi Abba and Ima Ubo Nivra Olam Haba, and from it comes the world to come. Ima Ilah, which is the supernal mother. Shehi Vav Daled Yud, which is the Vav Daled of the Yud. So B'Yud Nivra Olam Haba, and Hey Nivra, so that the Yud itself is Chochmah, and the world to come, which is Bina, that's the Hey Vav in the Yud. If we're saying that Partsufe Abba and Ima are together called Chochmah, so how were we mefarish that with B'Yud Nivra Olam Haba, if Olam Haba is Bina? So we say no, the Yud, the world to come, is the Vav Daled within the Yud, because that's the Hey of Hashem's name, because Ima is together with Abba truly. So if according to that, they're both in the Yud. Just the Yud is the Chochmah and the Vav Daled, which is the Hey, the first Hey is the Bina, the Ima Ilah. So I guess that with the Hey Nivra Olam Hazeh would be the last Hey of Hashem's name. Or you could say it's the Hey, the second Hey that's not in the Yud, the second, the first Hey of Hashem's name, which is not in the Yud. And if so, this that it says in Zohar that the world to come has no eating and drinking, that's also in the Yud of Hashem's name. Yeshua call Chochmei Law, that it's all supernal wisdom. Al derech kol dvam adaka chulu, like the concept of soft, still voice. So even if you want to say that the Shulchan is Alma Da'asi and Bina, it doesn't contradict, because it could be the Bina of Yisrael, Saba, and Tfuna. That's Imai Law, where there is a Chila, where that it's lower than the level of the Yud of Chochmei Law. Yud Shel Shem Hu Atzilus Shebet Atzilus. That is because the Yud of Hashem's name is the Atzilus of Atzilus. V'Hei Shel Shem Zeu Bria Shebet Atzilus, and the Hey of Hashem's name is the Bria of Atzilus. V'Ayin Mashikasu B'Dibur HaMaschil Matzazu Be'inyan Mochin da Abba u'Mochin da Ima. Look what's brought about Mochin of Abba and Ima, and about the matzah. That Mochin da Abba is higher. It's a concept of bittul, whereas Mochin da Ima is simcha. So the matzah is Mochin da Abba. So I guess it's an achila on this level of bittul. So that's the chiddush of the matzah, is that it's achila even on the level of Mochin da Abba. Perhaps similar to what he brought before by comparing the menorah to the Shulchan and the Mizbeach. ובדיבור המאסכילו שבתם מים בססן דרוש השני פרק בייז משם יובן ההפרש בין המשכה של ידי בירכס המזון ששורש מוכן די אמא ובין המשכה של ידי התפילה ואכילס מזבח ששורש מוכן די אבא. And there in those Maimorim of Pesach and Shmini Atzeret and Sukkot, you can understand the difference. It explains the difference between the Birchas HaMazon, which comes from the brain of the mother, and that which you draw down to prayer, and the eating of the Mizbeach, that it's rooted in the brains of the father. Of Chachma, and that's we can answer according to the Siddur Birchas HaMazon.